Hi, thanks for having me. I'm gonna read from Undark with a guest reader, but I thought I would just read something else first. So I've had this interesting debate with people. I don't know if you guys know this book, the collected short stories of Lydia Davis. I love it. But there was this interesting discussion about whether they're poems or whether they're stories, and I had an interesting discussion today with a student. I'm teaching this class online, which is always, I think, really weird. And this guy has never met me in person, and we had this great academic conversation, and then I had to get on the bus, and it really threw me off. But I just checked my messages when I got to the hotel, and he said, "Oh, I'm so glad that I didn't know who you were, because if I had seen your pictures and your face, which I looked up afterwards, I wouldn't have listened to anything that you had said." It's terrible. It was terrible. And then I thought, oh, this reminds me of something. This reminds me of this great Lydia Davis prose poem, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's called A Position at the University. And it's about the kind of person that we think might have a position at a university. And it's short, so I just thought I would cover that first. I think I know what sort of person I am. But then I think, but this stranger will imagine me quite otherwise when he or she hears that, to my credit, for instance, that I have a position at the university. The fact is that I have a position at the university. The fact that I have a position at the university will appear to mean that I must be the sort of person who has a position at the university. But then I have to admit with surprise that, after all, it is true that I have a position at the university. And if it is true, then perhaps I really am the sort of person that you imagine would have the position at the university. But then, on the other hand, I know that I am not the sort of person I imagine when I hear that a person has a position at a university. Then I see what the problem is. When others describe me this way, they appear to describe me completely. Whereas, in fact, they do not describe me completely, and a complete description of me would include truths that seem quite incompatible with the fact that I have a position at the university. It's Lydia Davis. It does sort of remind me of me in some ways. Okay, so I'm going to read from Undark, and Undark is it's written in it's written in 8 voices, and so I don't want to read them all myself because it turns into like a weird Punch and Judy show with myself. So I'm really, really lucky because tonight we have the famous Canadian poet Christian Book is here, who happens to be here toiling away adjudicating shirk applications. So I'm going to have him read all of the male voices, and I'm going to read the voices of the Undark workers. So if you don't know the story, Undark is about women who painted with paint in the 1930s, and one of the things that they were asked to do is to keep the points of their brushes sharp by actually licking the brushes, and they were painting on watch dials, except for that what they were actually ingesting, the glow-in-the-dark paint that they were using, was made with radium. That was the basis of the paint. So most of these women perished at some point and had terrible radium-induced anemia, especially to their jaws, but basically all over their bodies. So I'm going to invite Christian Book to come up, and so we're just going to read 3 voices, I guess. I'm going to read the voice of the radium women, alive and dead, and Christian is going to read the sort of like the advertising voice of Undark, which is actually real ads taken from Undark from between 1910 and 1950, and he's also going to read the inventor of Undark paint. So because he's such a good actor, you should be able to tell which voice is which. But we've never rehearsed this, so we don't know what it's gonna sound like, so you'll have to bear with us a little bit. You good?
Undark doesn't get dark in the dark. You want Undark because it contains real radium and keeps its glow for years. If the house number on your door glows in the dark with Undark, People can tell it's the number they want without lighting matches or ringing your bell to inquire. Soon we will paint your rooms in moonlight. Luminous piano keys, conductors' batons. We are miners and refiners of radium-bearing ore. Pioneer manufacturers, largest in the world. Soon you will demand undark on everything. Soon you will say, I want that on mine.
We make a noise. Wings or ghosts of bats, 2 licks 2, or something beating something? At night it enters, our brush keeps time, pressing on to, out of 2 licks 2 ticks, the beauty of bold strokes pounding us still, 2 ticks, 2. Later we'll laugh, shake moonlight off our clothes, like ash. For now a clock, the day wears, worn mechanism, tick-lick, 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 tick-lick. We hear the buzzer, look to our watch.
Next time you fumble for a switch, bark your shins on furniture, wonder vainly what time it is because of the dark. Remember undark. Today, thanks to constant laboratory work, everyone can benefit from this most unusual element. 23 years ago, radium was unknown. Today, it serves you safely and surely. You must ask yourself this. What would you like to see in the dark? Fishing lures? Clocks? Buckles on bedroom slippers? Most assuredly you do. Undark takes care of the dark, so you don't have to. You may ask plainly, does undark contain real radium? Of course it does. Flashlight, pull chain, push button, doorbell, safe lock, gas gauge, fish lure, toy eye, bed slipper, poison bottle, clock hand, door lock, flashlight, pull chain, push button, doorbell, safe dial, gas gauge, fish lure, doll eye, bed slipper, pill bottle, cork arm, doorknob, old tooth, small box.
Come, meet us at the edge of the rail yard. Past the European honeybee, the brook trout, the ghost of Annie's Road. Here we lick our lips, point brush tips, paint dials and dayglow shades. On breaks we ink copperplate names on barrel drums, dream a handsome soldier will hear our licking hearts, read our handwriting in the dimly lit pander, the tick of it seesawing them to sleep. We paint because our hands are delicate. We paint because everything defines itself in the end, because we're sick of leaning away from light, ghostly and tiring. At night, the teeth of our hands aglow, light only the edge of what's swallowed, consumed. In the distance, our babies sleep through the night. We sing lullabies our mothers sang to us, sing them aloud with nostalgia or fear, as if we were waiting for the air to clear. Our voices still vibrant in the sky, so the railway loud this time of year. Come, listen to our pandemonium. Meet us at the edge of this noise.
I dip wrists to elbow, seize the mercurial obsession of moths. My face eats radium, becomes blooms, becomes stars, becomes birds, all wings beating at once. Time. I could hardly name her. A twinge, uncanny glow, like feathers, like leaves. Safe as the love of test tubes, cradled in my palm. It is radium, returned to me like a lover, yellow, all prospect, to state this fascination, the hue of indulgence, idolatry. I return home late, my wife asleep. I run my neon hand down the long line of leg. To touch is to believe this. Ambitious as cells, but something else. Not guilt that flows like ink, but milk blood, a monument on the mouth. The lab deserted now and quiet. The walls shimmering aftermath.
Wind scars the hillside awake. One night in a million when we know we're in love. It doesn't repel them, we come dead tired to bed, slip into place. We've painted our teeth again, and we laugh until he kisses us, tells us there are other places we could paint, nuzzles himself in. Outside, the groaning suburbs hollow yowl, uninhabited as any New Jersey night. Winded as windows howling at the moon, we don't care. Our fingers trace maps of stalled time, liquid silk into skin. The factory empty now, quiet. When he says we are glowing, he means it. On nights like this, even the shutters creak sonata, and all the necks of street lamps bow like swans.
Can you find the keyhole? Sometimes even sober people can't. If you have tried at night to locate a house, you will breathe fervent blessings on radium, which shines in the darkness like a good deed in a naughty world. As for the keyhole, prohibition hasn't banished the problem of finding it with neatness and dispatch. Radium has. If only we could apply this method to political candidates. But even the power of radium must stop somewhere.
Of course there were inspections, of course it's glowing to the waist, the discharge of a runny nose candescent, the women told quietly to stop licking, to keep radium out of their hair. At night the factory was a constellation, Gemini a gleaming hourglass, workbenches brilliant as celestial maps, the legion of the doomed, waiting to die, waiting for a court date. Outside, the sky darkened a little, shadows changed. It won't take long, that whimper, the noise that will not sing itself to sleep. The waiting room proves we're in trouble. Haven't been to the doctors, been avoiding it, no tolerance for bad news, intuition, oh well. There are always groceries. I mean, the floor that will not clean itself or something else. In the end, it isn't the sickness, angry catacombs of sugar, bone, miming, calcium, no. It's those damn descriptors, necrosis, necrosis, necrosis. Why won't the man shut up?
Ever bruise your anatomy in the dark? Knock over the bric-a-brac while hunting for the chain on the table lamp? Paw the air for various artifacts? Thanks to radium, night is being robbed of sundry terrors of knocking over the telephone and electric lamp, or rudely encountering the corner of the bed while straining on all fours for those elusive bed slippers. One of these beacons will keep you off the rocks of rocking chairs in midnight cruises about your sleeping room. Friendly as lighthouses, they chart your course. Of course, luminous gun sights are also made for hunting in the dark woods late in the day. And if you have ever held a shotgun to your shoulder to bring down birds, you know what I mean.
Night like any April night. Cold street lamp, no relief. Lemon crocus still poking through dirt, crown of her stubborn head. From the window, the suburb is rapacious. Square grids. We sit on the sill, peering at tomcats buried under cars. Furtive, hungry. Doctor told us we were dying or wouldn't deny it. Either way, it seems strange to slip so easily, to slip so unexceptionally into sleep, and not wake up in the morning to make breakfast or plait our hair. It's easy to give up on Maple Keys, sun firing down. In the end, we do what love tells us. We get up again and again and again until we can't. Some nights are like that.
I have told you that the story of radium is an unfinished story, and this is what I meant. We used to believe, and doubtless you were taught, that an atom of matter is indestructible. We do not believe this anymore. Suppose we could make atoms of radium obedient to our will. We would get, as a result, a tremendous explosive power. As I have said, 1 gram of radium could raise the Woolworth Building 100 feet in the air. Huzzah!
Please stop.
To hope
Your
that
silhouette.
we shall learn
Cut it
to
out.
control
Scapula,
radium is
accusatory
optimistic,
trees. Stop.
but it is not a
No
wild
leaves,
dream.
rosy
You
cheeks,
have read
glittering
the
peaks,
story
so
of
be
the
it.
stars.
Here
you
is
know
my
that the
hand.
universe is so
Enough.
vast. The
Once I
man who
loved
tries to
everything,
understand
patron saint
becomes
of
humble because he knows
inconveniences.
very little indeed.
Light
The
moving
result will
across
be
the
far
table,
greater than you
dull-eyed,
imagine. Unless, of
feverish
course,
pitch.
you have an excellent imagination
Dear one,
and a considerable knowledge
said nothing.
of chemistry.
In the dark, we went on, 6 hours, 7. Nothing could stop us. The trees bristled and shook outside. The day circled, geese circled, blaring at nothing. Handkerchiefs spoiled glowing linen in the dark. We are jellyfish iridescent 6 hours, our face white -7, our breath burns. Let us put it this way. Luminescence, but no name. Thursday goes on confessing soft moans, soft shoulder, not one animal, but 2. Anything, say anything, don't say it. Hardly enough to bury 6 years. The night sky structure of certainty. What follows the night is what precedes it. Please bury me by the turnpike. Please repeat the question. When the trial finally resumes, 3 of us are dead. Haunted by open hands, words carried in mouths for hundreds of years. To hear morning hit the white clapboard fence, cantering, mottled hope. To feel quiet polished by an evening's peace precisely because we cannot have it. Because when we first hear birdsong, we wonder what it is. We feel thirst, salt luster of tongue's customary sequence, hours, decades. Even the bleat of cars doesn't wake us. Our eyes turn opal. Please bury us where the sound starts. Bury us by the angry scowl of the turnpike. Detritus clangs the sound that isn't sound. It fills our bellies with seconds, with dust.
Success has brought imitators. Hear the purpose of this advertisement. Having made up your mind to get an Ingersoll, you will actually get it. Radiolights, genuine radiolights, note the name, are made only by this company. No other watch dials are Ingersoll. No other watch dials are Radiolights. Another thing, outsiders are painting in luminous shades. They are not Radiolights or Ingersolls. Do not forget the advantage, a substance containing real radium. Please do not accept imitations. This advertisement is for Radiolight. This advertisement is for your protection.
Salt of the earth lies still, wind not enough, salt. Bury it in the backyard, half angry kiss. Corpse of this house, an assemblage, we meant to say lightly, say something, anything. Light takes so long to get to us. Here is the ash and the ice, the frame and the ice, an eye stupefied. I thought all men were beautiful, please, don't tell me.
Since then, I've hated the dark.
I never turn off the lights.